everybody, and welcome to Two Buddies and a Lot of Conspiracies. Eddie, what do you think of our devil character here?
Like, you know me, I'm always happy when they're wearing a sombrero,
Yeah, I guess
especially when it's like a super exaggerated one.
it's so exaggerated. It
Yeah.
really is.
Like,
Uh,
I was, I'm surprised it doesn't have like three head holes, so like all three of us are sharing the same sombrero.
there was actually one of the stupid AI images did have something like that, but I chose against it because it didn't look any way realistic. So this is the
Of
best that I
course
could
not.
find. I am noticing here now, though, that this gypsy does have three hands, which I didn't notice before because who's holding his trident?
Or it can probably be the tail women.
And that looks like a hand. It's got fingers on it. It's only three fingers, but maybe that is his tail. It's a hell of a thick tail he's got. And then I did notice his hand on your shoulder, two fingers. Well, one's bending the opposite way, which is good. And then the other one is just kind of tilted a little bit to the side. So, but who knows? Who knows? We have no
The
idea what the
the
devil's
one the one on
hands
my
look like.
side, I think the one on my side is has four fingers.
Does have four
Yeah.
fingers, but it's because the thumb is hidden on your back. So I'll give it that. I'll give it that. I still don't get the three fingers on the thick forearm back there that's holding the trident, but whatever. Whatever. So, as you can see by this very first image here, we're holding a barcode that's 666. And let's just bring it into what we're going to discuss today. So, today is Chapter 5, Barcodes, and Chapter 6, BCCI, which is the Bank of Commerce and Credit International. And it's gonna be interesting. So I did this. We did this in two because literally there's like a 3 minute video for barcodes. That's about all I could really find, and then that's pretty much it. So we'd be done in 3 minutes or 5 minutes, just us bullshitting. But yeah. So what we're going to discuss today, we are going to discuss barcodes. I have a video on that. Revelations, or the Book of Revelations 13, 17, 18, which you'll see it when it comes up. Barcodes AI questions because I asked it, and of course it tells you what you think you want to hear. And barcode examples because I can't unsee it now. And then we're going to go into, I got a BCCI intro video. I got a list of names that the bank actually worked with that's kind of interesting that we're going to read through. I do have an interview that was some news channel actually did a great um, they actually went through and figured out, what the hell was going on, or at least did for like 2 hours and 50 minutes. Which videos, again, all the videos are going to be in the comments or the description section, so you'll see all those, have access to them. But the one's going to be with John Kerry and then Robert Mueller, which you're going to be familiar with both of those people's names if you watch any news, or especially over like the Trump presidency in 2016 and afterwards. And then the DOJ, the Department of Justice, dragging their feet by actual journalists because this the actual, not expose, but whatever they were doing on the news channel had actual journalists because it was 1991 that they had the special on, and that's when journalists actually did journalism. Now it's not. Now it's all puff pieces and just stupid shit. Then it's how BCCI did it. It's the same. So all three of those videos are actually cut from the same video, which is 2 hours and 50 minutes. If anybody is interested, I would recommend listening to it all. But of course, when you're talking about bank stuff, it's kind of boring. And then we'll get to the closing. So, uh, Eddie, any questions so far about barcodes? Because that's going to be our first thing we talk about.
No, not really. But
Okay.
I think we we all see them in our life,
Done everything.
like in a very very like large quantity. Pretty much everything has a barcode nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say every single thing, unless you're buying it from, or you're looking at an individual item outside of a pack that was in a box that had a barcode on it, you're going to see a barcode on it. Um, So, you didn't read Barcodes or the BCCI, right? In the book?
No, because
Okay.
I like to. Well, because it's just a page. I'd rather just be surprised
You're not wrong. Yeah.
and because I think it's gonna take a little bit of it for me, like knowing what he said about the topics. So it's better just to go in with open mind.
There you go. I like that. And, oh, speaking of which, do you remember where you left off?
Yeah, yeah. I was at 4.5.
Sure were. You were at a 4.5. Now, the only thing out of this, though, that I can maybe see you jumping would be maybe the barcodes thing, really, because BCCI, banks are not legit. So, like, that's not going to be that much of a surprise for you. So, you'll probably, maybe you'll tick up a little bit after the barcodes thing, because I will have a project for you. And we can do that after you go through the first couple things here. But yeah, I don't know how much you're going to jump after this one. When we get into the next one, it's actually the Bilderberg Group, and that might be another one that you're like, another secret society that does a lot of shit. Okay, so I don't know. We might actually have a little bit to go before you start jumping hard. But let me read the first paragraph and last two paragraphs for the barcodes thing. So, barcodes. For most people, barcodes are the handy black and white stripes on products that facilitate quick payment at the store. Instead of the assistant keying in the price and the item is swiped over red laser lights which read it off. For the stockkeeper or the shopkeeper, barcodes have the advantage that swiping the barcode allows instant stock control. All right. So, and then on the back, the last two paragraphs is let's read the last one then. There's clearly a need for citizens to watch out for what big business and governments are up to. The devil, though, is not in the detail of the UPC and EAN barcodes used in America and Europe, respectively. Barcodes are part of a prophecy of the beast's takeover. Alert level 3. So, the whole premise is that there's 666 in all the barcodes, okay? Now,
I'm actually surprised he didn't. He treated these with a higher level than
he
the
gave
other
it
ones.
a 3 and the aliens ones is a 1. Like, dude, get the hell out of here.
Oh, that is fantastic.
I did have a thought the other day. I was thinking about it. The Mammoth Book of Cover-Ups. Maybe he's talking about what he's doing. Ho, 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 ho. So, let's get into what I got here. I put two videos together because literally, like I said, there's like no videos out there talking about this because it's like pretty apparent that it's what's happening. So, any questions or anything before we run this quick video?
No, let's go with it.
All right, let's do it. I like the music.
Got very intense.
Yeah. Depending on which side of the center they are, dividers help decode the start and end of each scan. The number 6 bars are used as dividers. Bam. At the beginning, middle, and end of virtually every product barcode. Look for yourself. There's a supercomputer in Belgium, they say, tracks everything and everyone. They call it...
Wow, is that actually true?
Yeah, it is. So, yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, man. It's totally true. It's totally true. So, After watching that, right? Um, what?
Like, either somebody who's like really has a dark sense of humor when he was coding all of
Right?
this, or I don't even know what to say. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to like think of a rational explanation to why,
Like,
and
why
it's
the
like,
hell would 666 be and everything? Yeah, like, come on.
yeah,
Why
or
would those
like
be the guard bars? Why can't you make the guard bars different numbers? Why can't you make them 111 or 000?
yeah, and then just go as far as the one that keeps like the main server.
Dude, there's a lot of demonic supercomputers out there, though. Like Golem is
The
one, another one. I think Israel one. I think those are like AI ones, though, too. But there's like a lot of weird stuff when it comes to a lot of these different supercomputers and mega computers, and or not mega computers, but like these mega corporations that have these big computers and quantum computers and all that. There's a lot of weird stuff out there when you start looking into those.
it's just like,
The beast.
yeah. Jesus.
Oh man. And you know it's funny too
Oh,
because like you and I, if you and I were talking about it, it'd be like, "Oh, well we called it the beast because it's badass. It's the beast, right?" No, 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 no. Like, I'm pretty sure that there's a satanic origin for the reason why they called it the beast.
yeah. That's like I said. Either somebody has a very fucking dark humor, or there's something else. You know what I mean?
There's something going on there. There's definitely something going on. Um, so this right here is what they were kind of referencing, and I just found like the fastest, easiest way we could put this out there. But Revelations 13, 17-18. 17. And that no man might buy or sell save he that he had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. His number is 600 threescore and 6. So 666, baby. Yeah. Very interesting, right? Like,
I love how it's like it literally says that might buy or sell.
right.
So like, you know, this just I think this just goes deep. Like, okay, it's obviously something that's been described that it should not be done,
No.
and somebody did it. It's just
Absolutely. Well, they put it in the prophecy, and they wrote this book, so they put it in the prophecy, so now they have to follow through with it. That's what it is, man. They
it's insane.
they rewrote it all, baby. Um. So yeah, nuts. Absolutely nuts. I'd ask you more questions about Revelations, but I don't think you or I know much about Revelations. So let's just let's just move to the next thing. So this here is
Good choice. Good choice.
yeah. We're moving on. Moving on. I asked Google AI, of course, because I always love to ask Google AI shit because you know they're lying to you. So barcodes contain 666, right? AI overview. No, barcodes do not inherently contain the number 666. The misconception arises from three sets of guard bars, a narrow space and a narrow bar pattern at the beginning, middle, and end of the Universal Product Code, UPC, barcode, which resembles the number 6 but serves as directional and adjustment marks for scanners, not data. These guard bars have no numerical value and are crucial for accurate barcode scanning, not for embedding a numerical code. Why the 666 myths exists? Visual similarity. The guard bars look similar to the digit 6 because they consist of a narrow bar and a narrow space. Misinterpretation of function. People misinterpreted these functional guard bars and encoded numbers as encoded numbers. Conspiracy theories. The myth gained traction as a conspiracy theory linking barcodes to religious prophecies about the mark of the beast. So what does that sound like to you?
Yeah.
Look over here, don't look over there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, they are so full of shit. It's insane. It is absolutely insane.
Just like puts in perspective, like when all these things are set in place and everything, like somebody knew all about this. You
100%.
know what I mean? Like
100%. Somebody
and it's
said,
just
this is what we're going to do, and we're going to do
yeah.
it like this. And then the funny thing is that you probably had some guy who was like ultra religious saying, sir, isn't that a bad idea? Because we don't want to have 666 and everything. And they said, you're fired. We'll bring in another guy who doesn't know scripture, okay?
Or they probably didn't say anything. They probably didn't say anything, and they just went like in the movie The Dictator. You know how he just goes
Okay,
like waves his little hand
you know
like side
what?
to side.
That's it.
Let's just
Yeah, and
agree
he
to
just
disagree,
dragged
my
him
friend.
out, right? It's a great movie. I gotta watch that one again. Yeah. So I told you when we started this, Eddie, that I was gonna have a project for you. Are you ready for your project?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you this next screen here, and so the top four barcodes that you see there are me going on Google Images for the barcode 666 and showing boom, 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 boom. There's a handful there, right? And then I said, you know what? I'm going to go look around my house. And sure enough, top right, right there's a hand soap dispenser. Bam, 666 is on there. To the bottom, to the middle left, that's a fucking salt, coarse sea salt, 666. Okay, yogurt in the middle, 666. Milk, 666. Zippo fluid, 666. Down over here, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Oh, that's cottage cheese, 666. Pack of cigarettes, 666. And then I forget what that last one is, but 666 everywhere, every single thing. Every single thing has a stupid 666 on it. It's just insane. It is just insane. So I want you to go and grab 3 items, hopefully something that's nearby, but look at the barcodes, and you tell me if they got the guard bars on there that look exactly like 6s.
You know what? I think I have T-shirts that I just bought the other
Oh, there
day.
you go.
Let's see if they have
Well,
a barcode.
you know, the comical
Oh,
thing for me is that, so why couldn't you make your guard bars and then have those 2 straight lines just be 1s, be 2s, be 5s? Why's it got to be 6s? Why is it got to perfectly look like a 6? That makes no sense to me. Like, you coded that in there on purpose. That wasn't like a mistake.
yes. I just because it comes on the back of the T-shirt. It does have it.
Ah!
I have our book, the cover-ups book.
Oh shit, I didn't even look at the damn book. He could have looked at his own book and said it was real. Yeah, it's got it there. 666. Son of a bitch.
Yep.
Wow.
Here, I got a fresco over here. Yep.
Jeez.
And it's noticeable because there's like the 2 lines and they're like one in the
Super
end,
far
one
away,
in the
yeah.
middle, and one at the end.
So,
Well,
I mean,
I have well, this is not sponsored, but I got Stubbs Sweet Honey Barbecue. And guess what? It
666.
does have. Yeah.
So in the first video where you can actually hear the guy talking, he said virtually anything. And honestly, what the funny thing though is that the other day when I read this and I was thinking about, you know, what I'm going to do to put this whole thing together, I went and looked at a couple of things around the house and I was like, "Oh, I don't see it on this one. I don't see it on this one. Okay, maybe it is kind of nonsense." To tell you the truth though, I can't find those anymore. So I don't know what the hell I was looking at, but every single thing I looked at the other day when I was finally putting this together, I'm like, dude, everything's 666. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So,
You know what? You know what? Now, like, I know we're talking about barcodes, and this is probably jumping a little bit out of context here. What's it called? QR codes.
Yeah. Oh,
If
those are
they have,
supposed to be demonic too. Yeah, you're not supposed to use those.
like, I wonder if there's something hitting on QR codes as well.
I would assume that there's even more bad things that we can't see because we have no idea, one, what the actual camera's looking at to actually find that website. Um, because why can't they just have it a website? These phones read words, and you could literally just click the words and bring you right in there, right? Why does it need to be some random weird QR code? Bet you're onto something
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Like that's the thing that as soon as we started, like it just came across my mind. Like,
It gets weirder, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Dude, you're telling me. Uh, so I think there's something to the 666 on all of our product codes. There's something to it, man. I know that there is. I would put my life on it. I'll say that there probably is something that has to do with the way they got it set up in the biblical scripture, to where it says that, and it's like mark on your right hand or something. That's the mark of 666 that doesn't let you do it. Blah blah blah. So that I'm not really too certain about, but. Um, but this here, having all these barcodes say 666, yeah, it's weird, 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 weird. I'll do the Rachel Ziegler thing. But yeah, any other things you want to look at? Any places you want to look to find, or any questions about the 666 barcode? Because I would say that that's confirmed.
yeah. No, well,
That's it's there. And there's no reason that they had to make them sixes for the bar for the stupid guard bars. Like I said, they could have made them just a straight solid line. Why does it have to be the two lines, right?
yeah.
If it's not a numerical value, there's no other barcodes that are just a straight thin line. Why can't you just use the thin line and have it be no numerical value? Why do you have to make it look exactly like a six? Duh, right?
Yeah, like, uh,
Ah.
like it's just a thing that I'm just pretty much lost for words now.
Yeah, right. That's what I said when I went and looked at everything around the house, and I'm like, no way, no way. I'm surrounded by demonic things. These are all demonic things now because they all got 666 on them. Oh, goodness. So I think that was the last thing I have about barcodes. That's why we had to do this as a two thing, because literally we go next to the Bank of Commerce and Credit International. So um, I will say one thing, Eddie. I'm a little jealous that you stuffed some bills in your pants there, and I got away with nothing from the BCCI. They got me
Oh
good.
no, no, hold on. If you want to look like in your wrist, is that a tattoo of bills or is it just
Dude, I bet it is. I bet it is because stupid AI doesn't know what the hell's going on.
like it gave you tattoos, but it gave me money?
And you know the best part about this image too is that I put in 3 different requests to have no hat on. I
Like,
said
nah,
I
yeah.
said white guy, no hat. Boom. Every time it put me in a sombrero 3 times. It put me in just some stupid other hat. It's like, no, what do you think, AI, what do you think no hat means? That means just hair. That's all I wanted. Just hair. But
It's
no.
just like you don't want a hat, you're getting a hat.
Yeah, it's like, fuck you. You're getting a
Like,
hat, bro.
it's
You got to look like your
like
buddy.
who are you to tell me
Yeah.
that I cannot do this?
Right.
Or probably it is like it's getting too smart that it can like fight against it. You know, like
Yeah.
that is like you can't tell me what to do. I'm smarter than you.
Yeah. It's like, don't you know that you guys would look better with both hats? It's like, okay, all right. That's why I said, screw it. I'm done asking it to make me new images. I said, this is fine. This is fine. We're supposed to be, so FYI for everybody, we're supposed to be holding the ends of our pockets out saying that we lost all of our money from BCCI. That's literally what we're supposed to be showing you in this image, but AI's like, nah, this is my image. I'm going to show you what I want to show.
Hey,
So,
think about it. If I look into it a little bit further, then it looks like I stole money pretty much.
yeah, you did. Well, that's fine. You at least got away with some cash, so we're going to leave it like that. That's literally what I said when I picked the image. I'm like, fuck it. It's fine. We're just going to go
I think
with
it at
this.
least gave me $100 bills. That's good.
Yeah, now you're balling. You're balling
Yeah.
now. You can do some cocaine now.
Whoa.
$100 bills is the way you're supposed to go because it's less touched. Come on. You know this.
No, I do.
So, FYI, don't look it up or don't do it, but that's true. So let me ask you.
We don't condone the use of drugs
honestly,
in
I
this
would not
podcast.
condone doing cocaine, especially. It's going
Drugs
to cost
in
you way
general.
too much, guys. It's going to cost you way too much. You go broke doing it. But what do you know about? Well, let me ask you this: have you ever heard of the Bank of Commerce and Credit International?
I've heard about it.
Have you?
Not like itself, like the subject of it or like the name of the bank, but I've heard it been mentioned before.
Okay.
Some way, somehow, like in a.
You may have heard it from. So there's a movie that they made, and I'll have a link. So you can buy it. I bought it on Vudu. It was like $13. It's called The International. It's with Clive Owen, and it's literally about the BCCI. Now it's like newer-ish. I think it was in the 2000s or 2000 something when it came out. And they didn't use the actual name. They called it the IBBC, which was the International Bank of Business and Credit. So they call it the IBBC. So obviously BCCI is very similar. And it was about Clive Owens trying to take down this bank, but everything keeps getting like hushed up, and witnesses keep dying and all this. It's actually a really good movie. I watched it last night. But yeah, well, the funny thing is it's actually a Middle Eastern bank. That's how they got started. But in the movie, because don't you remember in the 2000s the only bad guys could be British, and so sure enough they were just British guys. But the Bank of Commerce and Credit was actually
Really?
all over. Yeah, yeah. So
Now you're gonna make me go through like movies back in the day and see.
Yep, they made all the British guys as bad guys. Absolutely, that's what happened. Like the Russians were also bad guys, but that was more like older. Like if you go even further back, then the Russians are always the bad guys. But yeah, they made just the British guys because they can't go after Middle Eastern oil and portray them as bad. Even though like we went through all the terrorist stuff and all that, and it was like everybody went bad on that, but they didn't want to portray that in movies because they didn't want people going nuts on Islam and Muslims and everything like that. So that was the main reason why they were all British, because they don't care if the people hate the Brits. So I guess it's true. But yeah, that's crazy. So, but no, that movie I would recommend people watching. It's actually not a bad movie. It's not that slow either. They kind of kept it going, and I actually like Clive Owen. I've always liked him and everything that he's done. Wasn't he Lucky Number 11? Wasn't he in that too? Or am I making that up? Or is that Ryan Reynolds and a bunch of other? No. What was my favorite movie? I'm trying to think of my favorite movie with Clive Owen. Oh, there's one movie where he's driving. He stole someone's car, I think. He does that a lot in his movies. But he stole someone's car, and he's sitting behind some. He's in traffic, and sure enough, there's this person in a BMW that keeps changing lanes without using their turn signal. And sure enough, at one moment, when he gets the perfect opportunity, he gets up next to him and just like jerks the wheel and smashes him right into a pole. That was like my favorite thing. Because I want to do that on the road too. Like, that would be great. Use your turn signals, people. That's what we're saying. That's all we're saying. Use your turn signals and be polite to other people that are on the road. You're not the only one there.
Pregnant lady, I couldn't just stand there. See that? I fucking hate that.
What?
This guy changing lanes without signalling. I mean, how hard is it to use your signal? He's done it again. I moved my finger 1 inch to use my turn signal. Why are these assholes so lazy they can't move their finger 1 fucking measly inch to drive more safely? You want to know why?
Not particularly.
Because these rich bastards have to be callous and inconsiderate in the first place to make all that money, so when they get on the road, they can't help themselves. They've got to be callous and inconsiderate drivers too. It's in their nature. Stupid. Right. That's it.
You are the angriest man in the world.
If I remember right, you used to like it like that.
But any questions about this before we go into this first video?
No, I just want to go back and
Now you want to look to see all the bad guys.
Yep.
So this first video here is just going to be like a quick intro. So FYI for everybody, there are going to be some long videos in this section because we're talking about a bank, and banks are boring and long. So, but this first one here is pretty quick. It sums it up really fast. He does have a full video that's like an hour and change that I think that everybody should watch. But the way that this guy introduces this, I think everybody will appreciate. So, any questions again? No?
No. Let's watch the video.
There's a group that we're going to talk about today. Normally, banking's kind of boring. I promise you, this is the most interesting bank you'll ever hear about. It is the deep state's bank, or at least it was, and it played a role in some of the most important events in American history, some really controversial events in American history, things like the Iran-Contra affair. You found fingerprints of people that were working with a bank, a particular bank. The bank is called Bcci, and this bank was it's a Bank of Credit and Commerce International is the official name for it, but there is a different name for it, and most people didn't really refer to it as that. They knew it as BCCI. It jokingly came out later that it was Robert Gates, before he became Bush's CIA director, jokingly referred to the company as the Bank of Crooks and Criminals International before his appointment. But it just goes to show that everybody knew this was a dirty bank. Everybody knew, you know. So it was founded in 1972 in Pakistan with oil money by a guy named Aga Hassan Abidi, and started out with about $200 million of oil money that was looking for, it was just going to go into this BCCI bank, and it was going to help create basically a pirate bank. It was a bank that could be helpful for facilitating transactions that needed to, stay off the radar a little bit. It would be the bank that you would go to if you were a gangster. It was registered in the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg, but it was headquartered inside the city of London. Not to be confused with London itself. As you know, there is a subset, a Vatican-like entity, a Washington, D.C.-like entity that is a square kilometer, 1 square kilometer. Wouldn't be mile in UK. Have to be a square kilometer. I don't know. It's big. Called the City of London, and that is a city inside a city. It is a sovereign territory. There's a whole pomp and circumstance about when the Queen came by back before she returned to her natural lizard form several months ago.
That's right.
They would come by, and there's some sort of like ceremony they had to do. The city of London, the mayor of the city of London had to like acknowledge her and grant her, I don't know, some fucking bullshit. But anyway, it's a banking haven, inside of London. I've been there before. You could tell when you get into it because all the statues and all the artwork surrounding it all take on a lot of dragon symbology, which always made me think of like the stories of dragons guarding the gold. And I thought, well, that's where the gold is, or at least part of it. So the city of London has always been up to no good. And of course, if you're going to create the deepest deep state bank in the world, BCCI, you would have it running out of the city of London. That, of course, makes total sense. And you would have it registered in the Cayman Islands and Luxembourg. Cayman Islands, obviously, being a offshore banking colony, formerly currently still under British control.
Banking haven.
Luxembourg is sort of its own little tiny entity that stays out of most business, stays out of the news for geopolitics mostly, but really for business, who it is, because of that. It's known as also as a banking haven. So that's what they did. They, you register your dirty bank in places that have favorable jurisdiction and banking rules, and then you branch out from there and say, all right, well, we're going to now franchise this thing and we're going to put it all over the world. And if we have any problems, well, listen, we're registered in these really murky banking havens where we can make it very difficult for people to find out information about who's involved in the bank, in part because the banking secrecy laws favor the banks in these jurisdictions. So that's the reason why you would, of course, do it. At one point, it was operating in 70 countries with 400 branches, but honestly, the branches themselves were just window dressing to give the appearance that it was a totally normal, boring bank. But in reality, they didn't need the money. They didn't start a bank to make money from customers' deposits. Like, oh, we're going to make all this money, and people are going to deposit their paychecks, and we're going to sign them up for a 401k or an IRA or something. They didn't give a shit about that. The banking, the public face of BCCI as this bank was just a disguise. It was just there so that it wouldn't alert or create suspicion as to why you've got this bank that's got all this money and yet you have no branches anywhere. That's weird. So they did. They made sure that they put 400 branches out throughout the world to give the appearance that everything was on the up and up, when in actuality it was a front company. And they stole their depositors' money and gave it to their 3,000 criminal clients. That's what was going on the whole time. I mean, the customer deposits were of course pilfered at some point, but the customers themselves, the general public customers that signed up and kept their money at a BCCI bank, those customers meant nothing to the owners of the bank. Listen, the current bank that you use, you mean nothing to them as well. They don't give a shit about you. They treat you as such. So this was just out in the open.
Dude, facts. Those are all facts right there.
And you know what else got me, going back to movies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
When it's a bad guy, regarding now I got to go look back of
all the British bad guys.
Yeah. They always mention when they're depositing money or they trying to get away with robbing money. Mm-hmm. You always bring up the Cayman Islands.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a hub. It doesn't get looked on. I'm sure there's some type of regulations or whatever down there, but you'll see in the last video that I've got here, you'll actually see kind of how BCCI did everything. So it's honestly crazy. And you heard when it started 71, right? Wasn't it what he said, 71 when it started? And then it didn't finally get finished, I think, until 91. And there was some big trial in Tampa in 86 when they actually did have some whistleblower come out and he got in trouble, or a bunch of people got in trouble, and they had some case, but then it dragged its feet for a while. So, and I've got some videos in here to kind of go over that. But I liked his one comment at the end of that, which is let's be real here, that your bank today doesn't give a shit about you either. Like, because they don't. When it's down to the bottom of it, they really don't care about us. They're not there for us. And they might put on a good face to make it look like they're there for us, but they sure aren't.
So you're telling me that when I get all these emails of how special I am, it's not true?
Yeah, you can take those emails and shove them right up your ass, I guess. You're special. Make another deposit. It's like, oh, okay. We'll give you 1% back. Oh, really? Oh, okay, great. Thanks. What are you normally charging for interest on your credit cards? 30. Oh, okay. So you're going to give me 1% for my money in there, but you're going to charge 30 on your money. Okay. All right. Honestly, the fractional reserve lending is another thing, which I don't know if I'll put those in the description, because I'm sure there's going to be more banking stuff in this book that we can talk about. But yeah, like, so far you haven't heard any of this because you don't know nothing about BCCI either, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
just that only comment that
you had heard of it before, right?
Yeah. And like also to like every single movie when like the bad guys or somebody that committed a crime wants to hide money or this and that, and that they can probably like kind of like liquidate it afterwards. They always mention like the Cayman Islands and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that's the way to go. And then I guess Luxembourg too is pretty bad about that. But yeah, there's a couple different banking havens that you can put your money in where you'll have less scrutiny on like how it got there and what it was used for. Which I know that they've been putting in regulations and all this over the years, but I'm pretty sure those just give kickbacks to our politicians, which is good. The politicians need more money. They don't have enough already. We don't have enough already, Eddie. So this here is a list of names. I just asked AI again, list of names connected with BCCI, and I'm just going to read the names. I may read more if it's very interesting, like the last one you'll see on the bottom right. But I'll read the first paragraph, though. The Bank of Credit and Commerce International, which should be the Bank of Commerce and Credit, AI, you're dumb, was linked to numerous individuals and groups across the globe, including powerful political figures, intelligence agencies, drug traffickers, and arms dealers. The bank's unique structure allowed it to evade regulation and engage in widespread financial crime. So BCCI executives and insiders. So Agha Hassan Abedi, he was the one that actually made it. Yep, he was the founder. Swale Nakvi, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these somewhat right. And it's Abedi's second in command. And Amjad Awan, Pakistani banker who headed BCI's branch in Panama. Panama's another one that you hear about. Political figures and government agencies. Manuel Noriega, the Panamanian, I think that's how you say it. The dictator who used BCCI to launder at least $23 million in drug money. Good for him. Saddam Hussein, the former president of Iraq, who used BCCI for various financial dealings, including arms procurements. Which that's the... No, the Iran-Contra's coming up. Abu Dhabi royal family. As the bank's majority shareholders, they funneled billions in deposits. I guess I'm reading all of it. In deposits to BCCI. Key family members such as Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan were key financial backers of the institution. Khalid bin Mahfouz, I should probably have a Muslim guy come out here and read these. A Saudi banker whose family owned a significant stake in BCCI between 1986 and 1990. Clark Clifford and Robert Altman as chairman and president of First American Bank shares, respectively. They were indicted for concealing BCCI's illegal secret ownership of the U.S. bank. Jimmy Carter, The former U.S. president received millions in charitable funding from BCCI, which helped the bank gain access to leaders in developing nations. Bert Lance, which I don't know who that is, former director of the Office of Management and Budget, who received a loan from BCCI to pay off debts and helped introduce Abedi to prominent American political figures. Good for him. I wish someone would come to me and be like, hey, man, here's like $10 million. I'd be like, okay, great. Central intelligence agencies, the CIA, held several accounts at BCCI, with some sources reporting that the National Security Council, NSC, also had accounts for covert operations, including funding the Iran-Contra affair, which I know we'll get to that ultimately. And then the rest of the whole list here was, and I'm sure these aren't all the people. These are just the ones that Google AI wants to say that were involved, or the ones at least that probably got indicted or at least in a little bit of trouble. Kamal Adham, the former head of Saudi intelligence, who was a major shareholder and nominee for BCCI. He also helped facilitate BCCI's acquisition of First American Bank shares. That's what got that other guy in trouble. Jesse Jackson. You've heard that name. The American politician whose expenses in Paris were reportedly paid for by BCCI. I'm sure he got more out of that too. Hussein Muhammad Ershad and Samuel Doe, former rulers of Bangladesh and Liberia, respectively, who were implicated in money laundering through BCCI. Criminal enterprises. The Medellin, or is it Medellin or is it Medellin cartel? Eddie, I ask you because you're Colombian. The notorious Colombian drug cartel.
It's Medellin.
Of course. The notorious Colombian drug cartel used BCCI to launder its drug profits. Abu Nidal organization, Palestinian terrorist group, that's good people, that maintained secret accounts at BCCI, bank staff who were also informants for British intelligence MI5, provided copies of financial documents related to the accounts. And then business and financial connections. Gokal family, a prominent Pakistani shipping family and the owners of the Gulf Group. The Gulf Group's a big group. The Gokal brothers were BCCI's largest customers and its biggest bad debtors, with Abedi personally handling their unsecured loans. Gaith Farayan, a Saudi investor who served as frontman for BCCI to secretly acquire U.S. banks, including First American and Centrust Bank. So if anyone has First American, that's why Nazmu Virani, a UK-based property tycoon who received a massive unsecured loan from BCCI. And Mark Rich, the financier who was identified by an informant as being with Samir Nahmedi, an arms dealer with ties to Abu Nidal, who used BCCI for millions of dollars in letters of credit for arms deals with Iraq. So, Eddie, some of those names probably sound familiar to you, yeah?
Yep. Well, pretty much the one that you pointed out the most, the Medellin.
Well, yeah, I wanted you to say it in Spanish. Looking at me in Spanish. So honestly though, the funny thing is like this bank had drug dealers, big corporations, government officials all around the world, all involved within it. And so that's the reason why, with how many names are listed in this, with how everything is going, that's the reason why I have the next three videos. The next two videos are going to be John Kerry and his investigation into it, which honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't like John Kerry, because John Kerry wants us to have a carbon footprint of 0, and he flies around in his private jet. So he wants you and I to walk places while he flies in his private jet. So it's like, no, you can go eat shit, John Kerry. But back in the 80s, he was actually trying to do things for the country. It's just funny how shit changes over the years and how this person shouldn't even be in power anymore. Therein lies the problem, everybody. and I want to get this on record that I said it, because I know I've said it before, and I want to say it again. We need term limits on our politicians. Because, look, this guy, you're going to watch a video where he's, like, trying to make things happen for the country, trying to make it a better place. But then today, it's like, how much money can I get to do this? It's like, oh, well, you're going to get a lot of money. It's like, oh, okay, well, then I'll do that. So we need to put a stop to these politicians having reign for too much time. But yeah, this is literally, and when you watch the international, and there will be a free link that you guys will watch. You'll see it in the comment section. It's on BitChute. So it was funny because I was searching up BCCI, and one of them pulled up this, and I saw a movie start, and it was like, what? And then I saw Clive Owen, and I was like, what? The hell is this? Is this going to be like the start of some documentary where they had a clip of the show or the movie? And it's like, no, it's the whole movie. So you'll see a clip in there, a link in there for a full movie if you want to watch it for free on BitChute. There's probably advertisements that are going to pop up, but just FYI, that's all things now today. All media today sucks. But outside of that, Eddie, what do you think about this crazy shit, man?
So you looked it up, and is the movie like an investigation on it, or just?
It's not like a direct it's not like he's going after BCCI. He's going after the IBBC. So they changed names.
Oh, okay. I got you.
And they changed some of it, but as you're watching through, you'll be like, oh, this is totally these guys. Because it really was. It really was based on this story. Because this story is amazing.
So they probably just did it, but yeah, they just changed everything. So
they couldn't legally they couldn't put Jesse Jackson in the movie. Like the ACLU would go after him in a second, or whatever part of the program he's in. So like they'd all go after him immediately if they put real names and real shit in there, or if they put actual Middle Eastern guys in as the leaders. So that's why they're all British. But it really is amazing. The movie's really good. It's not bad. It's not that long either. I think it's an hour 40, hour 30, hour 30, hour 40, something like that. Definitely worth a watch. I'll text you the link for the BitChute one so you can watch it for free. You'll have to watch it on your laptop. Or is your TV hooked up to your TV's not hooked up to your computer, right?
Well, yeah, you can just
well, obviously you can just plug it in.
No. You can like screen share and all of that.
Yeah. Okay. So you'll probably want to do that. Just screen share.
This is where Apple products come in place.
Oh, shut up! My Samsung TV's been connecting with my phone since it was made. Okay.
But
like,
I mean,
I'm
talking about my laptop, my man. My laptop can do it too.
Yeah, well, I can send it from any Samsung product. I can screen share also from any Android product. So I can use my Fire TV here. Or my Fire whatever tablet thing I got.
Stick.
No, the tablet I got. I can send it over. So here's, do you want to know something fun? So when I'm down in Florida to see my father, he doesn't have Wi-Fi. So whenever I'm down there, I have to, because I want to watch movies when I'm down there, because I don't watch movies a lot in general. So I have my Fire Stick down there. And literally, all I have to do is connect to it and screen share. I don't need to have a Wi-Fi connection, but guess what? I would need a Wi-Fi connection for if I had.
Not really, if you have Apple TV.
No. You take that back right now. You take that back right now, because I looked it up. You cannot without a Wi-Fi connection. You need to have an active internet Wi-Fi connection to be able to connect an iPhone to it or even an Apple TV. So in your face, Eddie, I can do it on the free when I'm down there because I'm already paying for my phone service because I have an Android device. So take it back right now. Apologize to the Android. I'm sorry, Android. Eddie said it. Don't worry. Eddie said it. But so yeah, I disagree with Apple. But Beyond that whole thing, there's a million people that are involved in this whole thing, and I guarantee you that a lot of people got away scot-free.
So this bank is no longer a thing, correct? Or
Supposedly not. Supposedly
okay,
not.
okay. So that's why, like, all these names and everything, all these records are available.
Correct.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's also because it's like 30 plus years old, because the bank went out of business supposedly in 91 or so, or like in the early 90s. So literally, and that's the other thing that's amazing, man, is like this shit was going on before we were even born. They already had this crazy convoluted scheme to, take in money here, fund this out there. Oh, the big thing with the BCCI was they were known, or at least how they started was they were the third world bank, that they were going to bring money to like the third world and help people in the third world, and like you saw in that first video, in the video that we saw about this, they just took all those people's money. They didn't do anything good for them. So yeah, it's bad.
Sounds like a win.
Yeah, right. Yeah, win for somebody anyway. But any questions about the list of names or anything you want to look up before we go into the next video?
I think we're good. Well, because just not knowing like all of them necessarily, but
a lot of people.
there's some big names that.
Yeah. Some big standouts in here, like, oh shit. Well, the one thing that I loved seeing was the CIA listed in there, like, oh, okay, yeah. And they had multiple accounts. That's from Google AI too, so you might want to change that, Google, if you're trying.
Like even
to
Google knows.
Right, even Google's like, I can't lie about this. Screw it. All right, they had multiple accounts. Yeah, they were bad guys. It's just insane. So this is what I was mentioning in the beginning from that news channel that has this should be the John Kerry and Robert Mueller one, and then the next one will be the two journalists, and then the last one will be like how they did it. So just to kind of get ahead of it. But FYI, these are all going to be kind of long, so strap in. And you ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
In this country, the names of several prominent Americans have been linked to BCCI. Among them, former Defense Secretary Clark Clifford, chairman of First American Bank Shares,
This
the
was all done
Washington
in
bank
91.
owned by BCCI. He is under criminal investigation. Jimmy Carter, whose foundation accepted an $8 million charitable
It's funny
contribution
because you
from the
can
bank.
tell.
And Robert Gates, who allegedly wrote a
By, like, the
report
frames
3
of
years
the
ago
TV
on
show
BCCI's
that-
illegal
from the 90s.
activities.
Absolutely.
Gates is President Bush's nominee to run the CIA. The CIA said today that Gates was not the author of that memo. The agency says it is conducting an internal review to see what links, if any, it has had with BCCI. The newest angle, and potentially the largest bombshell, is bribery. According to former Senate investigator Bloom, an ex-BCCI employee told him the bank brought millions of dollars in bribe money to Washington. Judy?
We turn now to the man who has been looking into the darker side of BCCI's affairs, perhaps as long as anyone in this country. Senator John Kerry, Democrat of Massachusetts. Kerry's subcommittee on terrorism, narcotics, and international operations first came upon the bank's activities as part of an investigation into drug trafficking in 1988. I spoke with Kerry this afternoon. Senator Kerry, thank you for being with us.
Glad to be with you.
Senator, what about this latest allegation that BCCI brought supposedly millions of dollars in bribe money into the United States? What do you know about that?
I know that it's an allegation, and it's
like
one that we have heard from several different quarters, in addition to which we have had some informants give us information regarding the whereabouts of documentation of that allegation. We do not yet have either the evidence or the personal statements supporting it, and so it remains an allegation at this point.
So you don't know if anybody was bribed or if bribes were attempted or anything beyond that?
I can only tell you that we have heard the allegation and that we are told documents exist that will support it, and there are insiders who say this. We do not yet, at this moment, have, and I'm not going to create for anybody, an impression that there is first-hand evidence of that we have seen.
Well, in connection with that, evidently, there's this allegation in the New York, rather in the Wall Street Journal this morning and other places about prominent U.S. political figures being involved in all this. Do you have names of people in your possession?
I do have names, and I have heard very specific names, and they're very disturbing. But at this point in time, they remain allegations that I think are sufficiently serious and sufficiently disturbing that it would be inappropriate just to throw names around or to say that they are anything but an allegation. And I think we have to be very careful at this point in what is happening, that there's a certain snowballing effect here where allegations are reaching a higher level than they perhaps deserve in terms of importance. I think you have to be very careful. I don't know that everything I've read thus far is true, and I'm one of the people who's been investigating it, so I want to be very careful.
So when of course, the name Clark Clifford has been out there for some time, but of course, President Jimmy Carter, his foundation getting several $1 million in a contribution. Is there anything to that or more to that needs to be looked into?
I think everything needs to be looked into. Let me again be very clear and careful. There isn't one allegation that I have of Clark Clifford paying anybody, being involved with anybody in any of the ways that we've just been talking about. And I don't think it's fair to have his name suddenly sort of linked to that part of this problem. There are questions, obviously, about Clark Clifford's participation, and we hope to ask those. But the real question here is how this bank managed to go on for so long with so many people knowing it was called the Bank of Crooks and Criminals, and so many people apparently having a sense of its international badness. And yet
they made movies about it.
Recently that this seems to have caught people's eye in a formal investigative manner.
No, I mean,
one of the people who supposedly called it the Bank of Crooks and Criminals was Robert Gates, the former deputy director of the CIA, now up for nomination. Is he someone who's going to be part of this whole investigation?
Well, I know that the Intelligence Committee, I've talked to David Boren, and I was over at the Intelligence Committee today looking at some data, and it's very clear to me that the Intelligence Committee is going to look at the question of what the CIA did or didn't know and what Mr. Gates did or didn't know. That is going to be one part of the inquiry.
One of the reports I was reading today made a distinction between legal activities or legal connections between the CIA and BCCI, which may have existed, and on the other hand, other connections which might not have been above board.
Those, Judy, are really all part of this inquiry. An awful lot of information is suddenly flooded into the public arena. We've spent about 2.5 years trying to get certain documents. There's a certain amount we do know and have known for a long time. But I'm going to tell you, there's a lot we don't know. And we're trying to separate fact from fiction and sort through this, and probably need a broader forum in which to do that than we have available to us at this time.
And you're going to be holding hearings at some point on this. Is that right? Are those scheduled?
We had hearings planned before this burst into the scene in the last few weeks, and we do have a hearing planned for next week, which will look at some of the foreign aspects of the involvement of BCCI and how that might implicate our foreign policy or affect it. And we're also going to be looking at the impact on the banking system here in America and the regulatory process and how the current crisis may affect our own issues here at home.
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Why should American citizens be concerned about all this? Were American depositors in some of these U.S. banks the BCCI controlled hurt by this? Were American shareholders hurt? Why should Americans be concerned?
Well, it remains to be seen if any depositors are going to be directly hurt at this point. Clearly, shareholders have been hurt because their value has been diminished. Whether or not, but what is the concern for Americans broadly? The concern is severalfold. The American oversight and regulatory process is supposed to know what banking institutions are banking in America. We're supposed to know who's buying American banks. We're supposed to know whether or not this kind of crisis could affect us before it happens, not afterwards. And most importantly,
still happens today.
When a bank has a corporate policy of money laundering and it is a rogue enterprise that violates the law, flaunts the law, and seeks to peddle influence and corrupt public officials, that is of grave concern to American citizens. The drugs in our streets right now are tearing apart our communities. And corporate entities like BCCI are as culpable in facilitating the flow of those drugs as is the street pusher.
You and others
Man,
have raised
our
serious
government.
questions about whether the Justice Department has dragged its feet in this whole thing. What is your view of that right now?
Well, I don't want to get into a contest with them. I know they're not dragging their feet today, and I think that's important. But clearly a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we turned over what we thought was vital information about the illegal ownership of a bank, about interference with congressional investigation, about a worldwide network of illegal undertakings, both in money laundering as well as in other illegal activity. And the very people that we know, because we've been working with them to get information ourselves, were not pursued for a long period of time. They simply weren't interviewed, or they were not brought before a grand jury. In addition to that, we saw a plea bargain take place a year and a half ago, which we're glad there was a case. But the case was not resolved to the satisfaction of many of us who were observers of and analysts regarding this particular bank and its activities.
Is there a good reason, possibly, for the Justice Department not pursuing, not following up, and so forth?
I don't want to speculate about it, and I don't know of one. I really don't. I don't know whether it's just inadvertent, too much to do, they were focused elsewhere. I honestly don't know.
What
but
about
I do know that I know that there are questions that have been raised, and I think they ought to be answered.
What about this whole notion that they were trying to protect the activities of intelligence agencies, including the CIA?
Well, I've heard that notion floated. I don't have any evidence of that, and I have not personally
Google AI
asserted
said yeah.
that. But again, there are a lot of questions on the table, and I think it's up to everybody in as responsible a fashion as possible to try to now seek the answers to those questions and to lay them on the table and let the chips fall where they may.
Senator Kerry, we thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
To get the Justice Department side of the story, we turn to the head of its criminal division, Assistant Attorney General Robert Mueller. The Justice Department announced this week that it has set up a task force of federal prosecutors in 4 cities, Washington, Atlanta, Miami, and Tampa, to investigate BCCI's activities. I spoke to Mr. Mueller a short time ago. Mr. Mueller, thank you for being with us.
A pleasure.
We just, of course, as you know, talked to Senator
He looks like a
Kerry,
criminal,
and
doesn't he?
while he gives you credit, you at the Justice Department, for being on the case now, I think the question in many people's minds is why did it take you so long?
Well, I would point out, first of all, that we began our investigation in 1986 of BCCI in Florida, and our investigation has resulted in the conviction.
1986.
Excuse me, 1986, yes. 1986, and that investigation culminated in the conviction of BCCI in Tampa, Florida in 1990. And that is the only conviction of BCCI not only in the United States but also around the world. We also prosecuted and convicted 5 managers of BCCI. So to say that the Justice Department is not on the case flies in the face of these convictions.
So, but how do you explain Senator Kerry's and others' allegations? Senator Kerry just said you failed to follow up information his committee handed to you over the last 2.5 years about ownership of banks, worldwide activity, worldwide illegal activity.
Well, one of the frustrations of being particularly a federal prosecutor is the fact that you conduct your grand jury investigations in secrecy, so that you do not
he makes somewhat of a
bring charges that cannot be supported by the evidence, and consequently we are often precluded from telling people what we have done and how we have followed up on information that has been provided to us.
But when they say they brought you names and they brought you evidence or information or allegations and nothing was done about it, that's different from saying that you couldn't put anything together.
Well, I can assure you that when either Senator Kerry or others have brought information to us, we have taken the appropriate steps to follow up on the allegations.
He and the New York U.S. Attorney Robert Morgenthau both said that all sorts of investigations that they were pursuing were depositions and so forth that were prevented from proceeding because the Justice Department stepped in and said this can't go forward because it'll interfere with something else we're doing.
Well, as Senator Kerry is aware, there is a problem with Congress proceeding with, for instance, witnesses, as happened in the case of Ollie North. That presented a substantial problem down the road to prosecutions. So when we coordinate and cooperate with Senator Kerry or Robert Morgenthau, we have to do it in such a way that it does not jeopardize our ongoing investigations. And not only have we had the ongoing investigation in Tampa, but we've had investigations going in 3 other cities. So while we would like to be cooperative and have been cooperative, indeed we have provided substantial information, both to Robert Morgenthau as well as to John Kerry. We have to do it in such a way that our investigations are not jeopardized.
What about the allegation in connection with all this that the reason the Justice Department didn't do more was because it was being pressured by intelligence agencies?
It's simply,
Womp.
it's simply not true. We pursued aggressively, and I think Senator Kerry and
His nose is growing.
Robert Morgenthau would agree that our prosecutions of BCCI in Florida were exemplary. And that, in my mind, rebuts that charge.
Tell me what your agency is focusing on now.
Well, we're continuing investigations into money laundering, and we are investigating allegations that come to our attention. I can't, it would be inappropriate for me to get into the details of those investigations.
But is it fair to say it's just the money laundering side of BCCI's activities?
No, it is not fair to say that. That has been in the public, so I can say that we are investigating the money laundering inasmuch as those investigations have been made public through the prosecutions in Florida.
What U.S. laws do you think might have been broken in all this? What are you focusing on? What kinds of activities?
I'm not going to speculate as to what the evidence might show in the future when and if and when an indictment becomes public. But in the past, we have proven violations of the conspiracy laws and the money laundering laws of the United States.
You wouldn't restrict it to that, though?
No, I would not.
But for the layperson who's listening and wondering, why should I care about all this? How does it affect me? What would you say to them?
Well, money laundering is the lifeblood of narcotics traffickers. And we have proven, in fact, the Justice Department put out in the public record, the fact that BCCI was involved in money laundering in support of narcotics traffickers, and that is something that we are concerned about, have addressed, and will continue to address.
But what about the other activities of BCCI, the international, supporting terrorists, holding the funds that various dictators were using, Manuel Noriega and others?
I think one should sort out some of the allegations from others of the allegations. We, in the United States, are responsible for enforcing the laws of the United States. And that we're not responsible for enforcing the laws of another country. But to the extent that we have information that will assist authorities in other countries, we provide it to authorities in other countries. And in fact, in the course of our Florida prosecutions, we came across information relating to money laundering out of London, provided that to Scotland Yard, and that resulted in the conviction of 2 BCCI managers in Great Britain.
Specifically, what about this list of names of prominent U.S. politicians allegedly who were the target of bribes? That allegation's been made. There has been an allegation made, I believe, by Senator Kerry's former investigator, Jack Blum, namely that millions of dollars was brought into the United States by BCCI specifically for the purpose of bribing prominent Americans.
I have seen that allegation in Time magazine. I have, and all I can say in that regard
so why were you
is
so
that any
confused?
such allegation would be pursued by us aggressively, and wherever the evidence took us, we would follow.
Well, Senator Kerry said he's seen the list of names. Do you have
I'm not going to comment on the specifics, but if Senator Kerry has a list of names of prominent persons, I would assume that he would provide it to us.
But you don't have it at this point.
I'm not going to comment on what we have or do not have because I cannot. It would be inappropriate for me to discuss the details of any particular investigation.
But is it fair to say that if this had happened, you'd be interested in pursuing it?
Absolutely.
But you can't confirm whether or not.
Cannot.
Well, Robert Mueller, we appreciate you being with us.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
You know, I give her credit for actually going a little bit harder on the guy.
Go in after it. like after him and everything. But you know what I thought? Like when
Eh.
he said, "Oh yeah, no, they're not involved and everything," and then I assumed later on it came out, right, that it was
Correct. Yeah. So
it'll be
there's
like a
uh,
it'll be like a funny bit, like when they do like those videos that like that little song, like,
oh yeah.
like the fail song, and then
Mhm.
like just like screenshots of it coming out that they were actually like,
The honestly, the joke of the whole thing is that, and I like how this freeze framed on her kind of mid speak there. She looks silly, but to his credit, I will say, if you are investigating something, you really don't want your information to go out and completely screw your investigation and inform the wrong people and change things, blah, blah, blah. So, to a point, like, okay, I get it to a point.
also like give heads up to the people that they're being
right,
that are being
like,
investigated
you're next on the list,
yes.
buddy. Right. So, yeah, get your, start burning all your documents now. So as far as that, but I actually like the way that they presented this. I actually think that this news channel did a good job with showing John Kerry first, like, hey, this, which I know he left out a bunch of stuff too that he couldn't tell because it's on national TV, so he's not going to make himself, he's not going to make the government look like a bunch of assholes, a gaggle of fucks, gaggle of idiots. But then also at the same time, he wants to kind of be like, hey, man, let's move it along. And then on the other end, he's like, hey, by the way, this is in 1991. I know I've said it, I think, a few times, but this was in 91. And he's talking about his big breakthrough that they had in Tampa in 86, which is 5 years before, right? Yep. So it's like, you mean that you haven't been able to figure, after all that came out in 86, like you weren't able to get anything else linked on these guys in America up until now? Like, come on, it doesn't take that long to do shit. You definitely could have figured out more along the way here.
I guess it took him 5 years. Took him 5 years.
Took him 5 years. So one clip I sell just because Robert Mueller, I don't trust him. But there is another clip that I was gonna put in that was like him afterwards saying, "Yeah, we did this, and we got this, and we're all set on this, and this is what's going to the grand jury or whatever the hell was going on." So because they figured it out, they kind of later on this whole video that they have that was on the news channel is like multiple segments that they pieced together that comes out to like 2 hours and 50 minutes. And it was through like months and months and months, and they just put it back together to make it one long video, which is something I like about YouTube. I will say, it is funny. I wasn't able to find this like on most of the other things. I was able to find it on YouTube. Great video. Couple things on that BitChute, but like nothing on Rumble. I was kind of pissed about that. Rumble, aren't you supposed to be aren't you an arbiter of truth? Aren't you supposed to have all this info? But the good news is, Eddie, you and I got our video. So if anybody ever searches BCCI on Rumble, guess what? They're going to see our assholes out there talking about it. So that'll be good news. But yeah, so what'd you think? What'd you think of these guys talking?
Well, yeah, the second guy is just trying to avoid the whole topics, and
right,
yeah, it's pretty much his big excuse, which yes, it is
kind
true.
of, yeah.
But also too, like the other one did mention some other things, and I don't know, he was just avoiding pretty much the question.
A little bit. So the one thing that's kind of funny is I saw a couple of times when she pressed hard, like a death stare come over from Robert Mueller.
Yes, I noticed that too. Like
he's like, you bitch, you weren't supposed to ask about this. It was like, because
full props on her.
100%.
Like, because I assume, like, obviously I don't do that. Like, works in this kind of area, but
well, when you're on the
assume
spot, you can't stop the
told-
cameras and you're live. It's like, oh, you bitch.
Because like I assume there's got to be some sort of things prior to the show airing, and like, oh, you should not mention this or this.
Correct.
Or that,
Well, I was just about to bring that up, actually. Operation Mockingbird is a real thing. Operation Mockingbird is the CIA's implanted at all these different news organizations. And I'm sure after this interview happened, they probably jacked up the security on it to where they're like, no, you say these questions, and this is it. So I'm sure as we've progressed here, that's why, like, the media, that's where it's a joke. And you know you've seen it. I'll probably put the video up if I can find it again, where it's like they were talking about this is extremely dangerous to our this is extremely dangerous to our country, or whatever the hell they were saying. But it was like literally this news channel, this news channel, this news channel, this news channel. They're all saying the exact same words. It was like word for word.
Yeah.
Democracy. They were saying this is extremely dangerous to our democracy. And they all said those exact same words. And it was
Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trouble and trend of irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 like, come on, guys, make it less obvious that you're being controlled, you know?
Yeah,
So it's like,
I remember that video.
shit today is fully controlled.
Yeah, it's the one where like every second it goes, it just keeps on like
Yeah,
popping.
it
like a new
jumps to a new
outlet.
person saying the exact same words, and then it's a full page of like 30 different news channels all saying the same shit, the same
like all
time.
synchronized.
Right, it's insane. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy. It's like
Which
clowns.
props on the guy that edited that. It probably took a long
Dude,
time.
he did a great job. He did a fucking great job. I know. I wish I found
everything.
Well, I wish I knew the exact person that actually did it, because I know I got it in my phone somewhere. But I gotta find. Like, I would love to give props to the person who actually put it together, because the issue with Reddit is that this asshole found it and then he clipped it and put it on something else, and then this asshole found his video and clipped it and put it on something else, and then this asshole found it and he clipped it and put it on something else. So it's like 10, 12, all the way down the line. It's like, so if I give credit to this guy, it's like, he didn't do it. It's like, it was the guy that did it years ago. But yeah, no, honestly, it's unfortunate with Operation Mockingbird, the way that everything has gone today. It's unfortunate that we don't have journalists. That's why this next clip coming up, I'm actually really pleased with, because back in the early, this is 91, so this is the beginning of the 90s, they still actually had journalists. And I want to say journalists lasted until like 2000. Then they kind of just went off, because when you think of a journalist today, what do you think?
I just think they have a script now.
Yeah, you give them no credit, right?
Yeah, they go out. They don't go off script, and just pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, actually, let me ask you that. Any questions about these two clowns before we go to the next thing?
No. I want to see what the next one is.
You're going to like this because you're going to listen to these guys talking to like, holy shit, they used to be journalists. It was great.
So how far apart are these two videos?
They're literally...
Or is it the same?
So this here is actually pretty much what happened next.
Oh, okay.
So this is like the beginning of the 2 hour and 15-minute video. I'll send you the video if you want to watch it. I'm telling you, it's good, but it's boring. It's a news talking about banks. All right, let me just put it like that. The news talking about banks.
Double whammy.
Right. Yeah. So you're not going to be like, oh my God, I have to watch this. This is going to make my day. It's not. It's really not. It's great. It's good information, but it's really boring. You're better off watching The International. You're better off watching that movie with Clive Owen, and you'll get more out of that than you probably will out of any of this. Yeah.
You know what I was gonna tell you? It's funny that we bring like how boring banks are and stuff like that. There's like this one Mexican comedian that made like a skit on saying like, oh yeah, we're capable of like making everything more smooth and taking less times. And like automizing like everything pretty much.
Yeah.
And he's like, but the only two things that we can seem to make it go faster is going to the bank or going to a DMV.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's it. Everything else is automation, no problem. You just roll right through.
Everything else, majority of process like got a little bit quicker to some extent.
Yep.
But for some reason, these two, we can't figure it out.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Absolutely. Oh, that's insane. Oh, man. All right. You ready for some actual journalism back in 1991?
Yeah, because you remember when we talked about it that, like, and give props to the people that actually, like,
did their job
serious.
Right, absolutely.
And actually, like, when they had something to investigate, like, not even, like, they didn't have to be, like, let's say, like an officer or, like, a detective or something like that. Yeah. And they just went in depth because they enjoyed their job.
Well, they wanted to uncover truths and uncover, like, information about, like, it's back when people used to care about the people they were reporting to, too. Mm-hmm. Because, like, they knew that they had people that were watching them every week, and if they could come up with something that's interesting and actually is affecting the people, they wanted to give that to the people and be like, hey, pay attention to this. This is happening. You're getting screwed. Whereas today it's like, how much am I going to make? Okay, fine. That's fine. Just write the check. No, it's just like, is it Katie Couric? I'll put a graphic up. But there was a lady that was going nuts. This is back, it was something about NBC and the Olympics, right? And I remember watching this documentary where she had come out with all the bad things in China, with the Uyghur camps and with all the other atrocities that happen in China, because it happens all the time. And she was putting this report together, and all of her higher-ups were great about it. They were like, okay, good, run with it. They sent her out there, found out all this info, came back, and sure enough, she had everything all done. They edited the videos, they put everything together. She was going to have her special, and then sure enough, NBC got a program with the Olympics, and Nike was their producer or their sponsor. So sure enough, they could not run the program that she had because Nike's in China. They do a lot of atrocities there, and that's what she was kind of going after. And she couldn't do it. She had all this info about how bad it was over there, how they were treating the people terrible at Nike, and because Nike was a sponsor of the Olympics and it was on all of their attire, all the paper, all the shit that they were wearing, all had Nike swooshes and everything, and then the Olympic badges, and it's like, okay. So it's big money. Big money is what talks about everything. It has nothing to do with anything else. If you got big money, you can get anything done, and especially if you deal with Nike. which again is a terrible corporation. I recommend. I'm just so pissed that the Nike shoes I like are there, and I haven't found more comfortable shoes. There's one pair of shoes. They're fucking Nikes. They're the skater, the SB10s or whatever, the black and whites, just slip-ons. But whatever. We haven't bought them again because they're such a bad company. And the atrocities.
That's your words. I love my Nike sneakers.
Oh, okay. I know you do. That's the thing. That's the issue. Like, the Nike sneakers are really nice. They're really great. But you just got to remember that they were made for all of 10 cents. And you spent $100 on those, Mr. Eddie.
Well, if we go in debt with all of that, everything pretty much costs cents to a dollar.
Isn't that the crime of it all? That one guy came out and talked about an iPhone cost like, what, $100?
At the most.
Wasn't that it? Wasn't that what he said? I didn't watch
Something
the actual
like
thing.
that.
Yeah, he said it was like $100, and they're charging $1,500. Like, oh my God, what a markup! Honestly, I wish I had a product that I was selling that people were going nuts for, would stand in line for. That only cost me like $10, and I was charging like $500. Like, that'd be great. Eddie, get on that. Me and you gotta make something, bro. Maybe we'll make some random shirts, and we'll make them for like 30 cents, and we'll, pay some poor Chilean child to make them, and then we'll charge $100 for it. And we'll say we're gonna be money back.
I thought this whole thing is being opposite of that, my man.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Well, yeah, you just
Well, think about it. If we could sell 1,000 shirts, Eddie, at $100 a piece, then you and I can put videos out every week, okay? Otherwise, we're gonna do it every couple of weeks or every couple of videos a month, okay? See, we're trying to help the people. That's it. No, I couldn't live with myself if that was the case. But yeah, it's just wild. Corporations, aren't they great? All right, so any other questions before we start the actual journalists?
No. Let's go for it.
All right, let's do it. You'll like these guys.
Now we hear from two reporters who've been covering BCCI. Jonathan Beatty is a senior correspondent at Time and the magazine's principal investigator on the story. Alan Friedman is New York correspondent for the Financial Times of London and heading up the BCCI investigation for his newspaper in this country. Jonathan Beatty, Senator Kerry says Mr. Mueller and the Justice Department are not dragging their feet now. Do you agree?
Well, I think that Senator Kerry is being quite charitable. As far as we've been able to tell from the examples that we've seen, the foot dragging, if that's what you want to call it, was going on as late as this week. 3 weeks ago, or perhaps 4 weeks ago now, an attorney came to the Justice Department in Washington with a proffer from a person who had what appeared to be key knowledge, right, of some irregularities that involved, in this particular case, how the bank was started with Clifford, the organizational meeting behind it, and at least according to the attorney, he was refused an audience by the Justice Department, offered to give him his proffer. He wanted immunity for his client in writing. They refused to read it. That's not very aggressive.
What do you think, Alan Friedman? Is the Justice Department now aggressive on the story, on the investigation?
I think Mr. Mueller and the Justice Department have certainly got religion about the BCCI case in the last few days, but every indication we've had is that the Justice Department, according to people like Mr. Morgenthau, has actually been difficult, made things difficult. I'll give you an example. As recently as just 5 days ago, I talked to Mr. Morgenthau, and he said that witnesses of his, BCCI witnesses, as well as British government officials who have key information on the case, were being asked by Department of Justice people in London not to cooperate with the New York District Attorney's investigation of BCCI.
Too.
Mr. Morgenthau said very clearly The justice has been stonewalling. He's written letters. He's tried to get key documents. He's not been able to get them. Justice denies all of this, but clearly there's something wrong.
Mr. Beatty, Mr. Mueller also vigorously denies the charge by your magazine in your story, your cover story, that justice reined in its probe as part of a concerted effort to try and derail any investigation. You just heard him say it's simply not true. How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond, of course, that we stand by what we said. I think the preponderance of evidence is almost overwhelming that the Justice Department has not pursued this with vigor. Mr. Mueller keeps talking about the fact that in 1988 they indicted the bank. The complaint centers around the fact that since that period of time they have not expanded their investigation into any of the areas that we all now see, right, in hindsight.
That's
were
what we
there.
were talking about.
And it's really simply happened again and again. Mr. Blum talked about the tape recordings of the high BCCI officials who talked about political bribery, who talked about the secret ownership of First American Bank. Those tape recordings were monitored by the IRS, by the Customs Department, and by an assistant U.S. attorney in charge of the Tampa case.
Exactly.
And yet they languished in a box someplace for the last 3 years with nobody following them up. It's hard to discern vigor in the Justice Department's investigation.
The allegation is made, or the implication is left, that from your story and others, that it is because of some connection between BCCI and various intelligence agencies of this government that there would be some motive for not pursuing, for the Justice Department not pursuing an investigation. The CIA is now looking, it says, at its own contacts with BCCI. What do you believe those contacts to be from your reporting?
From our reporting, we know two different things, and it's not just the CIA. By way of explanation, the so-called black network of the bank, this is the clandestine group of people within the bank who allegedly performed the bribery, the extortions, the blackmail, what they needed to do to get ahead with whatever piece of business they were transacting. It's through these people that we have learned of new reports about money coming into this country. The modus operandi of this bank throughout the world was to curry political favor by loans to high officials, by gifts to high officials, by business deals that might coerce them into cooperation. They staved off investigations in other countries. The real question for all of us is whether this has happened here or not. And it's obviously very hard to say. We too have the lists of names that Senator Kerry referred to of
it's not that hard to say. I'm sure it did.
The Senator's quite right. We're quite irresponsible at this point to say these names, because so far it's only, to be blunt, it's only crooks saying that they gave these people money. But the fact that they have laid money into this country is pretty obvious. The millions of dollars to President Carter were being given at the same time that Mr. Abity, the founder of the bank, was gaining favor and notoriety in many other countries through similar bequests.
Apart from trying to buy influence or good reputation or whatever, what about the CIA or other U.S. intelligence agency contacts with BCCI?
We're told by U.S. government officials, not just the black network people, that the CIA was maintaining accounts in BCCI.
Which could have been legal.
Absolutely. If they're running covert operations that are legitimate and they have to have paymasters and take care of their logistics, that's all quite legitimate. However, people within the bank say that they had many more dealings with the CIA than just acting as a depository for their payroll. And further, we have been told, again, by U.S. sources, not people from Pakistan, not people in fear of being arrested themselves, that the Defense Intelligence Agency maintained a slush fund in the bank. And that word is critical. We were not told that they maintained accounts. The word slush fund was used, and we questioned the sources closely on this, right? Is this what they meant? And this is what they meant. Now, with all the connotations of off-the-book, offshore, hidden operations, we don't know what that's about. And I guess that's going to be part of the coming investigations.
Mr. Friedman, what can you add to that from your own reporting of what you believe the connection of American intelligence agencies may have been with the bank, BCCI?
I'd like to start by picking up on what Jonathan was saying about the phrase slush fund. The CIA's position has been to conduct its own inquiry and to say that they are looking at any past contact they may have had with the bank. The Financial Times yesterday published the first story to actually confirm a CIA direct link with the bank. The finance minister of Pakistan told us that he could confirm that the CIA used BCCI branches in Pakistan to channel monies for covert operations involving the support of the Afghani rebels. But he went beyond that.
Which, again, would be legal.
That would be legal. And that's a, as it were, legitimate CIA use of BCCI. But the Pakistan minister also told us that the CIA and other government agencies maintained slush funds at BCCI branches in Pakistan that were used for payoffs of Pakistani military officers and of Afghan rebel leaders, items that, at least under Pakistani law, would not be legal. That's under investigation by the CIA. But I would make another point. There's another issue here. We need to ask ourselves, what is it that the agency knew about BCCI, and could they have been helpful to the Justice Department? Could they have been helpful to the Customs Department? When we first spoke to William von Raab, the former Customs Commissioner, he told us quite clearly that in October 1988, just as the U.S. was about to indict these Florida people, he went to Mr. Gates, then Deputy Director of the CIA, and asked for information on BCCI. The Customs Chief got back what he described as well-written pablum. He said it wasn't useful, and it was only subsequently that he had to discover from British sources that the CIA was using the bank. So we need to ask why it was that there wasn't more cooperation interagency. There is one last point which we've uncovered and which will be appearing in tomorrow's Financial Times, and that concerns Iran-Contra. There have been a lot of allegations about BCCI and its possible connections to the Iran-Contra affair. Well, there are two items here we're reporting. One, I spoke to Arthur Lyman this morning, the former Senate Chief Counsel of the Iran-Contra Committee, and he confirmed to me that BCCI's Monte Carlo branch was used by Adnan Khashoggi, the arms dealer involved in the Iran-Contra affair, to provide bridge finance for the secret Iranian arms sales of U.S. tow missiles. This afternoon in London, the Financial Times received a series of documents, we'll be publishing this tomorrow, indicating that BCCI London branches were used in November and December 1985 by a close fellow who described himself as a close friend of Ollie North, an Indian-born arms dealer who handled 1,250 tow missiles that were shipped to Iran as part of this operation.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, that would tie BCCI into a clandestine and off-the-books and illegal, unauthorized activity. What about anything else that might implicate Mr. Gates, who at the moment is about to go before the Senate for confirmation as CIA director?
Well, I don't think we're here to go Gates hunting. I think the question that Mr. von Raab has asked, and which we are asking, is if Mr. Gates knew that the BCCI was the bank of crooks and criminals, if back in October 1988...
Do you have it on good authority that it was actually Gates who said that?
Absolutely. Mr. von Raab, who was the former U.S. Commissioner, told us that directly.
I see.
And Mr. von Raab then told us that Mr. Gates supplied him, had the agency supplied this memo, this what he called a CIA plate of porridge, which was really publicly available information on the bank. It is curious that Senator Kerry himself was told by the CIA recently that that memo didn't even exist.
Right.
So there's something that needs explaining here. I'm sure that the agency will be conducting its own internal investigation. But there are a lot of unanswered questions here, certainly.
What can you add in our last minute, Mr. Beatty, that you think links the Gates story at the moment to the BCCI story?
Well, what's happened, I think, is that the two scandals that are now facing, that Americans are looking at, have now become linked. We are going to go back and revisit, necessarily, Iran-Contra in the examination of Mr. Gates and what he knew.
Right.
And now that we see BCCI as perhaps part of the funding mechanism for the Contras, and perhaps with a little more sinister spin to it, perhaps funding for other off-the-books, off-the-reservations activities, these things are going to meld, and there are going to be more questions about what Mr. Gates and what the White House knew and when they knew it.
Yeah.
Well, Jonathan Beatty, Alan Friedman, thank you both for joining us.
How does it feel, Eddie, to listen to two actual journalists actually do their job and actually investigate things?
Well, it's great.
Is it?
It's, you know that I love when like people like actually like investigate stuff and then they have a rational conversation or like a debate. You know what I mean? I like that like a lot.
And let me also point out one thing. Can you see in front of them that the papers are only in front of this guy?
Mm-hmm.
So that means that they were going off of what, memory? I don't think that they saw
what
any
they know.
of those documents. They were going off of what they've actually looked into. And honestly, the sad thing is that this conversation with these guys should be a lot longer. It should be like an hour-long conversation with just these two guys. And I guarantee you they would have got to more information than you heard from those other two jagoffs a little bit ago. Because one's a senator and the other one's the district attorney, the attorney general of the United States. It's like, so both of those guys hid. They gave a little bit of information, but they hid a lot of information. These guys are like, no. Which, don't get me wrong, I know for a fact that if I was a detective and I was uncovering something kind of crazy and I had some journalist that was going nuts and went further than I did and started giving, or not even further than I did, but like had as much information or somewhat information that I had and he was divulging it all to the public, I'd probably lose my mind and probably try to have the guy killed. But these guys are doing their job. They're literally doing their job. It's just a shame that we don't have that anymore today.
Yeah. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's like I think if there is people that still like debate or investigate like this, it's very minimal to what it was probably back in the day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it doesn't happen like it used to. And also they've added in the DEI nonsense too. So they're just checking boxes and those people are just told what to say and they're getting a nice paycheck and got some free money from BlackRock and all those guys. It's nuts. Anything you want to discuss before we go into the next thing here?
No, I think we can go into the next one.
All right, what is next then? Okay. So this right here is, and I guess I'll read it now. So the last... I am going to read this last paragraph and then the last thing. So this here was what I asked the BCCI, because that was kind of the end thing. Did the U.S. government halt investigations into BCCI or like deliberately stop it, right? So, you want to read it?
Yeah. So, which one? The last one or the?
No, read the whole thing. I'll read the last alert level nonsense.
Oh, his okay. Following a 1990 plea deal with the U.S. Justice Department. Oh, this is awesome. This is where that little music starts.
Right?
The U.S. government significantly scaled back its investigation into the Bank of Credit and Commerce BCCI, and even actively embed parallel inquiries. This allowed BCCI to continue its criminal activities for oh my God, for over a year until pressure from New York investigators forced a renewed federal effort in 1991. That's awesome.
Yep.
Why the investigation was held. The Justice Department decision to stop its investigation was found to be the result of a flawed investigative approach and poor interagency communication. I love that it was just poor.
Oh, they didn't talk to each other, so it got all fuddled. We gotta let them keep operating then.
I just imagine two agents across like from each other, like
Look at each
yeah,
other. They're like,
yeah, we miscommunicated.
Sorry, dude.
Oh, so that's what you meant yesterday. Oh, my bad.
That's it. I wrote down the notes wrong.
I didn't see the post-it.
Right, that's it. Yeah. You gotta let me know in person. That's it. No post-its anymore. See, now it's okay.
Now we screw up everything.
Right.
Rather than a deliberate, coordinated cover-up.
Bam.
Key factors that led to this premature halt include failed prosecutorial strategy.
Prosecutorial. It's a weird word.
In 1988, federal prosecutors in Tampa secured a money laundering plea deal with BCCI. However, they failed to recognize the broader implications of the case, which involved evidence on the bank's secret and illegal ownership of the U.S. bank. First American Bank shares.
Awesome.
The lack of follow-up following the 1990 plea, the Justice Department stopped pursuing hundreds of leads
Shocker. Shocker.
to BCCI's global criminal activities. It was not until the scandal broke into the press and New York investigators took action in 1991 that the department resumed its investigation. This is like how it is. Like, oh yeah, let's just try to like put it under the rug.
That's it.
Nobody's gonna know.
Sweep it under the rug. No one's gonna know about this. Don't worry about it. Oh shit, they found out later. Oh man.
Oh fuck, we're feeling the pressure. Okay, now let's get serious.
That's it.
Like,
a couple more people asked questions about it, so let's actually do something, huh? Fuck. All right, we're gonna lose a lot of money. That's all right. We have to pretend like we're realistic and we're actually doing our jobs. So go do your job. It's like, oh, okay, I'll get another plea deal. All right, go. Unbelievable.
Or this just came to mind. What if that, like, at that point in 1990, they're like, okay, we're screwed. Let's just try this. Like, let's just try this hide as much as we can too. Like that can also be an option.
So,
until it probably just they got so big that it just blew in their faces.
I'm glad you actually brought that up because I'm about to read the last 2 paragraphs and then the alert level from him, which is perfect. So, shutting the doors of BCCI did not prevent $13 billion going missing. Not that any of the monies went to the bank staff or small investors, the latter queuing fruitlessly to retrieve their deposits from BCCI branches. There are no answers as to where the missing monies went, although there are hints that some of the bank's bigger clients received larger than usual remunerations in the run-up to the collapse. An investigation by the French intelligence service found that one, Osama bin Laden, was a BCCI customer. It is within the bounds of possibility that bin Laden was among those who benefited in the last days of the BCCI criminal enterprise. And then, U.S. Senator John Kerry's investigation into BCCI was deliberately blocked by vested interests. Alert level 9. So, our buddy, Johnny Lewis, is on board that this is real. Which, honestly, if you look at this shit, even Google AI's on board with this shit being real, man. Like, they knew what was up. Oh, my goodness. What a nightmare, huh? Could you imagine? Well, let me ask you this. Could you imagine depositing your weekly paychecks into BCCI and then going to use it and having nothing there? Because they stole it immediately?
It's awesome.
It's just awesome.
And I bet you to this day they don't know what happened to all those billions of dollars.
Dude, that $13 billion is long gone. They stole it from every which way they could. Absolutely.
And the problem is they got away with it.
They totally did. Yeah. At least some people got away with it. Some people had to fall on the sword, but majority of them, the bad guys, got away with it. Yeah. It's just unfucking real. Unfucking real. When you watch that in the international movie, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, okay.
The Perfect Crime.
Not really perfect.
Well, yeah.
It was
sloppy,
perfect for a
but-
long time. but then it got caught up like 20 years later when people started asking questions about it. And they probably got too big for their britches. I'll say it like that.
Yeah, that is also a thing, too.
So they probably, if they didn't try to go so big into like, I don't know, the U.S. government was different. The U.S. government was different in the 80s and the 90s. And like, so let me rephrase it and say, if they did that shit today, they'd probably get away scot-free. But if they did this shit then, when people were starting to ask their congressmen, hey, what have you done for me? It's like, oh, hey, we figured this out, and hey, we did this. It's like people don't care anymore at all about the government, what they do. They just think that they're there to help them, which is fake. But yeah, dude, unbelievable. What a crazy ass story, right?
Fact that everything came out and
yeah, or at least most of it. Yeah, absolutely.
they know how much. And here, this is the other thing. 13 billion that they know of.
I asked Google AI. I didn't put it in here because I wanted to read it from his book. So Google AI says anywhere from 10 to 20 billion dollars is gone.
Okay, but that's what I mean. That's of what it's known of.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't. It's like everything. We don't know exactly.
We don't know nothing, Eddie. We're here. We're the bystanders of a terrible corporation that did terrible things to the people, and we're just here to go put our shocked faces on. That's all that we can do is put our shocked faces on and pretend like we didn't know nothing about it, which we didn't actually. So yeah, we do have shocked faces. We have real shocked faces. Oh yeah, you'll see our picture in the next little bit. We are kind of shocked and sad. Oh man, what a weird time, huh?
Yep.
This is all before you and I were born. Well,
yep.
88, I was 1 year old. So in the 90s, I was 3 years old. So, but don't worry, I wasn't involved. I wasn't at 3 years old.
That I was not depositing my check.
No, I wasn't. Yeah, that's it. I was doing other things at the time. So, oh my goodness, what a crazy shit, man. Any questions about the DOJ and the government halting the investigations before we go to the next video?
No, we're good. I think.
What?
I think I said everything that I had to say. It's amazing.
It really is amazing, isn't it? So let me ask you to read what these words say.
Take the money and run. sounds like a great plan.
So let me just advise anybody: if ever you win the lottery, you will use these words. You will take the money and run. Do not get into their bullshit program. Just take the money and run away. Do not let them invest it for you, and then they make money, and then they take your shit. But yeah, so this here is it. The funny thing is that when I first heard this, I was like, oh, he's talking to us like children because he thinks that the general public are stupid. But after, so you'll see in the first, you're like, oh, duh. But after the first like 3 minutes, you'll be like, okay, this is why he's doing it. Because this is how BCCI did it, right? This is per these guys, these news guys. Because there was a clip with Robert Mueller saying, we did this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, shut up. No one cares. You're a liar. And you know more than you should. And you could have done more, but you didn't. So this here is just from the news channel saying, hey, whatever. But It's actually really interesting to learn because it does actually kind of give you a little more insight as to kind of how they did it and kind of how they got away with it. So, any questions about take the money and run?
Right. It's pretty self-explanatory.
One would assume. One would assume. You're going to like this. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah, go.
Okay.
The BCCI banking scandal returns to the headlines tomorrow as Senate hearings open on what happened and why, among other things, the federal government was so slow in doing anything about it. As a hearing preview, we have a refresher course on the scandal now by our business correspondent, Paul Salmon of public station WGBH in Boston.
In a sense, BCCI is a textbook case of international bank fraud.
When I saw this,
to understand it, it helps to understand how banks and banking regulations work. Boston University School of Management was kind enough to lend us a classroom and a blackboard to help lay out the steps in the process. So, number one, you need money to start a bank.
When I heard this, I was like, come on, asshole.
Shop and so on. BCCI got the money from something called the United Bank. Aga Hassan Abadi had run Pakistan's United Bank back in the 1960s. A recent documentary on Britain's Channel 4 reported that while at United, Abadi authorized $2 million in loans to a group of friends. Then it's alleged he had United Bank illegally write off the loans. With this money, Abadi and friends started BCCI.
China did this.
Thus, it seems, from the beginning, at BCCI, crime paid. Don Billings was a bank regulator at the Federal Reserve.
You'll like this guy, too.
It can be rational to break the law. It's simply a question of expected value. If the payoff is $100 million and the chances of getting caught are quite small, it can be rational behavior to break the law.
Yep. So, Abadi had some startup money. It was on to step two. A bank needs to develop some trust to get a reputation. Abadi did it by making the right connections.
Bam! I'll never bank with
Right
Bank of
off,
America.
the charming
No.
Mr. Abadi made the right friends, like the prestigious Bank of America.
My dad is.
Bank of America's good name helped
I should
launch
tell him.
BCCI, according to former U.S. Controller of the Currency, John Hyman.
Most of the banking persons around the world, people involved in banking, businesses, and certainly the regulators knew Bank of America and had to believe that they would only be associated with first-class people.
One would
people
assume.
they trusted, who they thought were good bankers.
BCCI, with Bank of America's backing, opened a branch in London, as well as making deals with sheikdoms throughout the Persian Gulf.
Yep.
By 1980, B of A, now queasy about BCCI, dropped the partnership. But the damage had already been done. BCCI was established and eventually had branches in some 70 countries, assets of more than $20 billion.
Wow.
Okay, BCCI
Which
had
was
some
almost
money,
all
had
stolen.
some contacts. Now on to step number 3. Any bank needs to register in a country where regulators can keep an eye on it. BCCI wasn't crazy about scrutiny, and so it made life a little easier on itself and a little harder on those who would later look into it. BCCI did this by registering itself in the land of Sun and Snorkel, the Cayman Islands. Hal Scott is an expert on international banking regulation.
What is regulation like in the Caymans?
I couldn't tell you. I've never seen an example of it. I mean, I'm sure there, by the way, we joke a little bit. I'm sure that the Caymans does have regulation. It's not just a question of what's on the books. Much more, or just as important, is enforcement of the
He
regulation.
looks so bored.
Well, we know that the Caymans just does not have those kinds of resources. So whatever they have written on the books in terms of regulation, there's a big concern about their resources with respect to enforcement.
There are certain countries that do not welcome U.S. supervisors. In fact, the nature of their comparative advantage is that they offer a certain amount of freedom from scrutiny.
He looks like a bank regulator, just an FYI.
And Caymans would be one of them.
Yes.
I like
Now,
him.
almost all banks register in just one country, which puts a primary regulator in charge. One regulator means one full set of books that someone could conceivably examine. So, just to be on the safe side, BCCI registered itself in a second country, Luxembourg, the tiny European nation known for its congeniality to tourists and to foreign banks.
Yep.
That way, BCCI could keep the whole picture from any one set of prying eyes.
And if there is no one looking at the whole, then it is possible to move bad loans out of one bank into another bank, moving them before either the auditors or the bank examiners come in, thereby presenting a false picture of the strength of the individual bank.
So you just keep moving the bad loans back and forth ahead of the examinations?
That's right, moving bad loans, or conversely moving in good assets before the examinations or before the auditors come in to check the books.
In fact, BCCI played it even safer, hiring different auditing firms for its different domiciles. Although, as we've seen in the case of the S&Ls, auditing firms hired by banks can be a little less than enthusiastic when it comes to checking the books of their clients.
Eventually, BCCI put Price Waterhouse in charge of all its books. But the firm never found anything amiss, or if it did, never blew the whistle. In fact, bank fraud is rarely discovered through an audit.
The problem is it is a resource issue. And if the audit is being supplied by government organizations or even private organizations that the company is paying for, they don't have unlimited resources. So in the practical world, you can fool auditors.
Unfortunately, BCCI's clever regulation dodge backfired when it tried to enter the lucrative U.S. market via New York in the mid-'70s. At the time, John Hyman, now a vice chairman at Merrill Lynch, was New York State's banking commissioner.
The question, of course, comes up, how come there's not a primary regulator? And the answer was that, well, we operate in third world countries, our systems, our patterns, our cultures are different. We've done this for tax reasons. We think this is best for our shareholders. We don't have a primary regulator. Well, now they have the choice not to have a primary regulator. Clearly, they can decide that. But we also had a choice whether to let them in the United States. We chose not to.
However, that didn't stop BCCI. Remember step number 2, making the right friends and establishing trust through the Bank of America? Well, BCCI went back to the tactic and made the right friends in the United States. In 1982, legendary Democrat and statesman Clark Clifford and his law partner, Robert Altman, helped investors purchase First American Bank. It turns out BCCI was behind the deal, although Clifford and Altman, who became the bank's chairman and president, say they were unaware of BCCI's secret dealings. In fact, over the last decade, BCCI has seemed to live up to its new nickname, Bank of Crooks and Criminals. Its customers included an odd couple, Abdul Nidal and Oliver North, and former business associates Manuel Noriega and the CIA. It also broke a cardinal rule of banking. It lost money, or perhaps gave it away, making bad loans to a variety of sheiks and other big shots. But the losses, whether inadvertent or part of some grand conspiracy, were real enough and had to be dealt with.
What I think happened is that as BCCI grew, as its need for money grew, as its losses grew, I think that management must have encouraged its officers in the field to get deposits. Because by getting the deposits, they had more money with which to work, more money with which to hide the losses, and to create at least the ambiance of a real business, a real banking business.
Fractional reserve lending.
On the other hand, maybe BCCI just wanted more money to funnel to its buddies. In either case, when a bank is desperate for money, it can go to great lengths to attract deposits.
We'll never get justice again with the people with whom I'm dealing with the most powerful and largest drug dealers in Colombia.
I want to be very clear that what is done to you. I'm not concerned. It's not my business.
That's Amjad Awan from BCCI's Tampa operation, caught in the act. A federal undercover agent posing as a money launderer is trying to make a deposit, and BCCI is apparently taking every deposit it can get.
I'm not concerned first in that because, you know, I'm not really responsible for the morals of yoga. I deal with you.
I deal with
Since
you.
all cash deposits of $10,000 or more must be reported to the U.S. government, and drug dealers aren't keen on leaving their names and addresses, they're always looking for bankers who will deposit the cash on the QT.
If you're willing to do that, you would take in the
$9,999.
deposits and then spread them in dummy names, of course. It would never be in the names of the drug dealer, but in some kind of dummy name. and then the money would be transferred to other accounts in your system that were dummy names for the drug dealer, whatever it is, in other countries, which would then in turn be transferred now perhaps to legitimate banks in other names, but companies that were controlled also by the drug dealers. And over a period of time, through many transfers of capital, eventually the investment of some of the capital, and even paying taxes on some of the capital, that the money comes out clean.
Illegal accounts help the bank grow, plus big fees can be charged on them, pure profit for the bank. Amjad Awan is currently serving a 12-year sentence for his efforts. But the point is, despite such flagrancy, BCCI managed to stay in business. With its operations in 2 countries, thereby guaranteeing lax oversight, and BCCI's skill at buying influence, it took almost 20 years for authorities in England and the U.S. to catch up with the bank. In a recent study, Hal Scott found loopholes in world banking regulation big enough to drive a BCCI through. But even with tighter regulation, scams like BCCI's will be hard to catch.
Crooks are some of the cleverest people out there.
Yeah.
And you put down a system of regulation, and immediately they'll find a way to beat it. So we cannot protect against fraud. What we can hope to do is discover it rather promptly after it happens, but we can never be devising some foolproof system to avert fraud.
So far, at least, no American depositors have been hurt by the BCCI scandal, although depositors in other countries, especially England and the Third World, have been literally devastated. But the question that remains here is this. Did Mr. Abedi and his friends at BCCI somehow penetrate First American Bank and use the same tactics here they used around the world? In that case, First American could be in trouble and could suffer the same fate as BCCI.
Insane, right?
It's just like all the things that, like, they go through one thing to the other one, to
right?
the other one.
Would you let me ask you this, because I know you're not a criminal mind like that show came out, but I wouldn't even thought about all this shit. Like,
one thing after the other, after the other, after the other.
dude, they were very meticulous and very intelligent in everything that they did. Like, that's the thing that's always kind of got me about some of these crazy scammers and shit that send you the email and then get into your phone and do all this. It's like, if you would have spent that same energy and done it, like, the right way,
the proper way, yeah,
you'd still make that same money, and you wouldn't be going to jail if you get caught. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you take that amount of energy and everything you've done, and you did it in the positive light, you probably would be just as rich, if not richer, because you wouldn't have to worry about going to fucking prison.
Like, not even that. You will eventually make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, not only, like, let's say, probably, what I'm trying to think, or what I'm wrapping my head around, it probably was quicker, or somewhat quicker this
definitely
way.
made your money faster. But here's the other thing that we're forgetting about, though, is that there were a lot of governments that were involved in this whole scheme that put their money in there. And I know that they were saying CIA slush fund thing, but I guarantee you that there are a ton of secret operations that happen every single year that need a bank like BCCI. And they have to have somewhat legitimacy to be open as a bank. And that's, you know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you, there's a handful of banks out there right now. Like, I'm curious about my PNC right now. I feel like, shit, should I start investigating them myself? But I don't know if I'll have the wherewithal to get anywhere.
I mean, like, well, like they mentioned, like, all these different countries that they don't have, like, that strict, or the funds even, to, like, keep on investigating certain things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, that's the thing about the auditors. I honestly, it makes sense. So if you've got a business and you've got some cooked books, it makes more sense to just buy your own auditors so that way you don't get audited by the government. It's like, oh, here's our auditors printout. Here you go. Here's what we got. Great. Thanks. Have a good one.
And like even how they mentioned if there was like external ones, like they were really not welcome.
No, yeah, that's but that I mean because the issue is when you're an auditor, you're auditing their books to prove them false, and when you get to the end of it, it's like, hey, I paid you to get there. to get me legit, okay? That's just like, you know what, another thing that's kind of interesting, and I doubt we'll get to it in the cover-ups, but all these different funds that go out, or all these different grants that go out to different not corporations, but these different science departments. So a lot of them, so if you look at a lot of these pharmaceutical companies, they actually will pay different scientific firms or different schools, and they'll say, hey, I'm giving you $100,000 to get this outcome, okay? And that's it. So if you get $100,000, Eddie, to get to this outcome, guess what you're getting to? That outcome. You know what I mean?
You're gonna get.
You're getting to that outcome. You ain't going anywhere else. You ain't gonna go, oh no, you guys fucked up. It's not real. Oh no. Oh, okay. Here's $100,000 back. It's like, no, you ain't gonna do that. But that kind of shit happens all the time. They buy a lot of these scientific reports. They buy a lot of these different things. That's the corporation way, and it's allowed to do that. That's the crime of it all. But yeah, no, it's nuts. So, what'd you think? What'd you think of this guy? I like his hair. Whenever you think of banksters, though, whenever you think of people that are dealing with banks, it's like you always image this guy.
This is one.
This is one of many. I do like this guy. You can see though that he shaved his all hair off because he just had like crow's feet. He actually has more hair than most of the guys. So like you can see right on the top there, he's still got a decent amount of hair. It's just like it would be a circle and then it goes back in a different angle, different points there. But he could have a beautiful head of hair if he decided to let it grow out and then just comb it over. You just gotta comb it over.
No, this is like the hairstyle that's popping right now.
Dude, we saw a couple of guys that look like this so far today. But, you know, unfortunately, I love people with bald hair, bald heads. Me and Eddie, unfortunately, don't have bald heads, as you can see by our fake images, our AI images. We have full heads of hair. Unfortunately, in reality, we do too. So I can't go too far into that. But no, I really like this guy putting it together. I think he did a fantastic job putting it together. He did kind of like, hey, this is what they did, and then they went to this, and then they went to this, and then they went to this, and then hey, when they went back to this, and then that was the outcome, and that's it. And there's still $13 billion missing, if not more. Who knows, honestly, how much they actually lost?
How much? Yeah.
Dude, they probably lost more than $20 billion. If Google AI is telling you $10 to $20 billion, it's probably $50 to $80 billion. Like, who knows? Well, you saw that list of all the sheiks, $313 million here, $200 million there. And I remember, I don't know if it was reading this or listening to something or watching a documentary. Again, I'll have all different videos and things for people to watch if you want to uncover more information or different things about it in our description. But I remember one of them saying something about like, it was like $2 million or $5 million or $20 million in an unsecured loan. So there was like no interest or payback or anything listed on the loan. It was just like they gave him $20 million. It was like, oh, okay. And I think that's what he was kind of referencing when he said unsecured loans. Because if you have an unsecured loan, technically, with no security, you're going to lose that money. So I think that's what he was mentioning there. So who knows how much money they just gave out. But the joke of the whole thing is they probably got that money from some random dictator or some Sikh that has billions of trillions of dollars. Oh, dude, do you think that's how they have those diamond encrusted Rolexes, or not Rolexes, those Rolls Royces?
Who knows?
This is my BCCI car.
I just think that there was somebody with a lot of money that's got scammed out of it.
Oh, absolutely. They took somebody's money. Absolutely. I think so too. So let me ask you.
It had to be like a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be like a ridiculous amount of money.
Well, that's the thing that we all forget about, is that there are some, like, so if you want to believe the Illuminati and the banker families to take over everything, they have trillions and trillions of dollars. So if they're going to lose billions of dollars, it's not really going to affect them, you know? Whereas if you and I go out there and some asshole takes our $100 bill, we're going to chase him down and punch him in the face. But
you know what? Now that you say that, what if that's the case? What if like people actually put their money into bank, or what if
they did with this company? They did. The third world too.
Not even this. What if they obviously got money from kind of trustworthy banks or banks that the normal foe had money on, and they got the money directly from those banks, and then they just stole the money. So they just probably stole the money from the average Joe.
So let me follow up with that as how are you looking to see you have funds?
What do you mean? Like
how do you look to see if you have money in your bank account?
Just like your
numbers in a computer.
Yeah.
Numbers on a fucking screen. What does that mean to anything? Nothing. They could zero that out in a fucking minute. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they say they got the FDIC, which is the federal... What the fuck does FDIC stand for? Eddie, what does FDIC stand for?
I don't know.
Ugh. Let me Google search it real quick. FDIC. Come on, Google. It's the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. That's what FDIC stands for, which in most banks I think it's like $150,000. Some banks are like $250,000. So say you and I had $5 million in a bank account.
Oh yeah, you lose all that money and you just get okay. No,
they go, hey, here's your $150. What? No, find out who stole my $5 million, bro. Like what the fuck? But no, they don't care. They don't care at all. It's which honestly, we unfortunately are in a country that you're lucky you'll at least get that little bit back. Other countries that don't have any of that regulation, which I'm sure probably got, I wonder if I got introduced because of these guys, but or other banks that were doing this same kind of shit, because they let's see, when did FDIC get started? FDIC start. It says 1933. Okay, so when the Fed was set up in 1918, I'm pretty sure. In 1933, they started with FDIC insurance, to where you get your money, a little bit of cash back. Probably because once the FDIC or once the Fed started, they were stealing a bunch of cash, and they're like, no. You're dealing with these wealthy guys. They're like, no, fuck you, give me my money back. Like, oh, we'll give you a little bit. Like, okay, fine, I'll take my little bit back. You stole most of it. But no, honestly, very interesting topic. It's unfortunately, like I said, it's a bank topic. So whenever people think of bank topics, it's boring as fuck. But I tried to make this like less boring. Any other questions about this guy before we go into the last thing, Eddie? No?
Go ahead.
Okay. So thank you all very much for watching. Eddie's still got some money left over from the BCCI scandal. Good for him. But no, honestly,
I took some cash out.
You at least you hit a guy and you took his register. Yeah, you took something. You got some hundos there. What looks like maybe $100 bills.
Lost 10,000.
That's your FDIC insurance right there. They're like, hey man, here's a couple bucks. Here's $400. Put it in your pants.
Or you ride home.
That's it. That way you can Uber back. But no, honestly, the thing that's interesting about this is that it's such a boring topic, but no one really wants to talk about banking stuff and banking regulation and all that. But really, there probably should be a little more banking regulations that they have out there, which I know that they've been continuously adding along the way. There is certain things that we've seen added over the years. The issue I have with our government doing a lot of stuff is that I know there's a lot of kickbacks, and I know there's a lot of like bad dealings, just like BCCI had in the beginning, that are gonna ruin the whole regulation. And it's like, they want us all to have cryptocurrencies. You know that, right?
They want what?
Cryptocurrencies for everybody. That's what they're talking about. That's the big thing. They've always wanted a CBDC, central bank digital currency. And the central bank digital currency sounds great in theory. It is similar to a fiat currency, except for the difference between the fiat currency is that you could literally walk up to anybody and say, hey, here's $5, go do this. Whereas if you go, oh, I'm going to send you $5, I need your account information, and then you send it to this person, now there's a log. So there's going to be a log of everything moving forward, which is no good, because then that person takes that $5, they put it in their account, and then guess what? They go and buy groceries with it for $5, or they go and buy this for it, and guess what? Since you have your 666 barcode, they'll find out exactly what the item was that the person purchased with that money, and then guess what? There's a whole track that goes all the way back to you now that you gave them money to go buy this drugs. You know?
Yep, I guess that's drastic, but
it goes a little drastic, but that's where we're kind of heading. We're heading into this technocracy, which is going to be nothing but the tech oligarchs know everything about everything. Oh, dude, have you realized how many more things now have allow cookies on their websites?
What do you mean?
You haven't noticed? You haven't gone to any new websites? You just already automatically allow all websites you go to? So, like, every single thing that I go to now, so if I'm looking up a stupid article, or if I'm going to a website about something, anything, every single fucking website now has a big pop-up that says allow cookies or I'm not able to proceed. And it's like I honestly don't want to give my cookies rights up. What if I'm just on the website for like 10 seconds, which is most of the time, just to like look at an item or something? Like go to Target.com. You'll get the pop-up down on the bottom. It says allow cookies. Go to Walmart.com. Pop-up down on the bottom. It says allow cookies, because they take those cookies and they sell them immediately. Because they want your information and they want your shit, so that way, well, the biggest joke was that probably about like 10 years ago, I started noticing this happen. 10, maybe 5, I don't know. Between 10 to 5 years ago, I started noticing this where I'd either be on a random website or I'd be on like Amazon, right? And if I'm on that same computer and I go to weather.com, my pop-ups on the top, on the right side of the screen are literally what I was just searching. It's like, guys, settle down. I'm not going to buy it. Like, you don't need to show it to me. Right. Like, I literally went from, like, Amazon to weather.com, and sure enough, boom, right there. It's like, within a minute, how did you guys already sell all of my data and information to fucking weather.com so that you can have it there? It's unreal.
It's the only way.
Dude, they're making so much cash. I just kind of kick myself for not setting up a data stealing website that I could sell everybody else's website. This is the same as stealing giving the poor kid $5 to make, or $3 to make our shit, and we sell it for $1,000. Oh man, unreal. The society we're going to, guys, we all need to pay attention to shit that's happening so we can stop it, maybe. But yeah, Eddie, let me ask you the question of the day. You ready for it?
I already know the answer, my man.
I feel like you do. You're probably at a 5. What is what's your new threat level?
Well, you said it, 5.
Yeah.
Because this one is like
the bank is gonna be scummy. You know the bank's scummy, so it's like okay, that's about real. I watch movies.
Yeah, like those are like, and also too, like I mentioned to you, they just bring it up, like they bring it up in like all these movies and all that when they want money not to be traced. Is like, they always mention like these locations.
The Caymans, Luxembourg, all these different. You know what? Luxembourg was new for me. I hadn't really heard that much. I always hear about the Caymans, but Luxembourg was new. That was a new one. So that's another one I'll keep my ears open for, I'll say, whenever I watch these new movies and see if they actually mention anything about it. Let me ask you a real question.
Go for it.
Your mind's going to be fucked now at Barcodes, isn't it?
Yep.
Like, dude, tell me about it. Like, every single thing I see now is 666 and 666, 666. It's like, okay. There's something more to that. There's definitely something more to that. They literally could have made the 2 single line bars, if you want to make them just small little line bars, they could have made that 1s or 5s or 0s or one of the 9 digits outside of 6.
No, they like that number.
They made it on purpose. They definitely made it on purpose. That's there for a fucking reason.
Like, let's say, if this is something that, let's say, the guy that was designing it and like doing it, and he was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it to fuck with people in general. If that's the case, this guy is a mastermind.
So, I'm not going to lie, there is a TED Talk from supposedly the father of Barcodes. I literally listened to it for about 5 minutes, and I'm like, I cannot listen to this guy talk anymore. This is the most boring TED Talk I've ever heard in my entire life. So maybe I go back and listen to it again, but to tell you the truth, seeing all the evidence, they're demonic. Like, that's it. That's it. I honestly don't need to see any more about it. I know that they're full of shit. Let me look here. I got a Harry Potter book here, and yep, 2 bars, 2 bars, 2 bars. Okay. So, even on my Harry Potter book that was done in the 90s, yep, it's still everything. It's all bullshit. It's all 666. They're put it on there for a reason, guys. It's because they all are demonic and satanic.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see. Anything else before you want to thank the beautiful people for watching?
No, I think pretty much got everything out.
Yeah. Look how sad we both look.
I'm gonna be one of those guys that now like takes off the barcode.
Dude, telling me, man. I want to like strip everything so it doesn't have any labels on it now.
I'm just joking, but it's gonna be like somebody's gonna come visit, and like I have a pop in the fridge, all covered up.
It's got a sticker over the barcode. Yeah, dude. You know, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if there isn't something to that where because it has those numbers now, it has a different ability. Just saying.
Who knows?
I'm a 10. I'm a 10 plus. Eddie's a 5 now. So we're getting there. We're getting there. We have no idea. These things could be controlling us and our movements and our actions. We have no idea.
He said I broke the scale.
That's it. The scale is tipped completely in my favor, I will say. And I'm glad Eddie's halfway there. So before we know it, we won't look as sad in these images as we do right now, and we will just be indignant, I'll say, in our knowing.
And also the pockets will be full.
Dude, fuck
Not
that.
only the waist.
That's
not
it.
only the waist.
Not just stolen there in the waist, like we're trying to get away with something, but we will have pockets filled with not donations, but I'll say stolen money from BCCI.
Okay. Not.
Okay, I'm sorry. Not stolen.
Not stolen.
The donations from BCCI and continuing our efforts.
Oh, God.
Yeah. But no, I honestly thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate it a ton. Eddie appreciates it a ton. We will continue. Next topic will be the Bilderberg Group, which honestly, if I had to venture a guess, will be a single topic chapter that we will go over because there is. I guess it's going to depend on how many things I can find about the Bilderberg Group. As of right now, I can probably find a ton. Oh, something that's weird though. I do actually want to bring up. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Okay. So the Bilderberg Group is the next chapter, then Black Helicopters, which is interesting. And then it goes to Bohemian Grove. So I really hate how this fucker jumps around because, yeah, then he goes Bohemian Grove, then the British royal family. Then he goes into 1 page, 2 page, Bush Bin Laden connection. So it's going to take us a long time to get through all this because this fucker jumps around. But next one will be Bohemian Grove, which I already know of a video that I'm going to put in there, which is going to be good. And you guys will be like, wow. But yeah, so that'll be the next thing that we do. As of right now, we are going to sign off for the BCCI. So thank you again for watching. We appreciate it a ton, especially if you made it this far. Eddie, anything last goodbyes and thank you for everybody.
Well, I guess thank you if you watched every single one. This is, if I'm not mistaken, number 4, correct?
This, technically, Eddie, is 5 and 6. We did 1, 2, 3, 4 already. So this is 5 and 6. This is our 4th technical time sitting down together and going over topics, though, yes.
So that's pretty much it. Just thank you for hearing us ramble about these things.
Eddie's very excited. We're really excited. Both of us are really excited. We appreciate it a ton. We really do.
Man,
really
a few words.
That's it. Absolutely. And Eddie's a 5. So we're moving along. We'll get him there, guys. We'll get him there. He'll be at an 11 before you know it. So yeah, thank you guys again very much, and take care.